Good morning to all the friends who have assembled here today to celebrate a journey of 50 years of independent, fearless, objective, and I would say outstanding service to the nation, reporting about the growth, reporting about good things, reporting about where we are going wrong, helping us decode and understand the India growth story over 50 years. My compliments to you, editor. My compliments to you, Mr. Bhattacharya, and to the entire Business Standard team. In fact, as a nation, we pride ourselves. And when I'm doing all these free trade agreement negotiations, I always say that nowhere else in the world will you get an opportunity to invest where not only do we have a vibrant democracy, demographic dividend, huge diversity, big demand, but you can be rest assured that with the two pillars of the judiciary and a vibrant and a very, very independent, fierce media covering your back, you can be very confident that you won't be successful, make value, create value for your business, become wealthy, and then land up becoming a professor in a university in Japan with everything else taken away from you. You don't know which case I'm referring to? You've heard of Jack Ma, haven't you? And what happened to him? Sorry? In India, that doesn't happen because we have the media playing a very important role in the protection of democratic rights, in making sure that we deliver on our promises and reporting back all the achievements and the shortcomings. And 50 years has truly been a glorious journey. Churning of ideas, giving newer perspective to the way the country thinks, works, the way government delivers on its promises. And what better day than today for me to get an opportunity to address particularly the young minds in this room. Today is Shiv Jayanti, where we are celebrating Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj anniversary. And it's truly a leadership that Shivaji Maharaj gave to the country at a very important cusp in India's history, that for the first time established India, that is Bharat, as a nation. It was for the first time that India started thinking of itself as a unified single country, where we started focusing on infrastructure, strengthening the forces to be able to protect our borders, all the forts that came up across the Maratha Empire. For the first time, India started looking at creating a navy of its own to protect our shores. And I think in today's geopolitical world, with so much stress, so much happening across the world, two conflicts, the one in Ukraine, the one with Palestine and Israel, with the Red Sea under threat, we can all imagine that what a glorious history we have and how much we have to be grateful to our past for the learnings that India has benefited from. In fact, the Honorable Prime Minister, while addressing the nation about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, had said, and I'd like to quote, "To build Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's Bharat, the journey will be of good governance and self-reliance. This will be the path of a developed India. And to my mind, the leadership and devotion which Prime Minister Modi has given to the nation, the devotion towards the nation, the devotion towards the welfare of the poor, his empathy to the less privileged sections of society so that they also get a better opportunity in life, and his confidence to make India once again reclaim its old lost glory. That truly, in a way, resonates with what Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had brought to the nation, had offered the nation, and if I may use the current coin which really works when we are out there in our constituencies, that is Modi's guarantee for the country for the future. Friends, laying the foundation of Bharat is truly our journey in the Amrit Kal, where we are able to convert even our problems, our difficulties, the crisis the nation faces into opportunities. We saw that during COVID, when the world was very stressed about what will happen in India. We didn't have a single starvation death. We didn't have riots on the streets, which some of the developed countries had, for foodstuff, ransacking stores, ransacking department stores and malls, just to collect some foodstuff. We had it in, I wouldn't like to take names, but some of the most developed and richest countries in the world. India did not have that because of proactive measures and the commitment that we as a nation, every single person in the country, had towards taking care of the other. That's the Bharat story, where we care for the other, where there is empathy and concern for the collective welfare of today 1.4 billion people. The Atmanirbhar Bharat packages came up to address the problems of the time, whether it was giving twice the amount of food grain to 80 crore less privileged sections of society, the poor, the lower middle class. 80 crore people getting twice the ration so that nobody sleeps hungry. And I remember going to the Honorable Prime Minister that really, a person can't be eating so much food. The amount we are giving out month after month. But look at his characteristic, his thinking, his empathy, where he said, no problem. Maybe there'll be some extra, I'll share it with somebody else. But we want to make sure that at no point of time, if there's any delay, we don't know what is going to happen in COVID. If we were all, in a way, struggling with the unknown. Science had no answers. And I suspect even today, there are still a lot of questions around COVID which remain unanswered. But he wanted to make sure that unlike the Spanish flu, where nearly, or rather more people died of starvation in India than of the Spanish flu itself, Prime Minister Modi made sure we didn't have a single starvation death in the country. And similarly, we embarked on a massive infrastructure development program. And I think the seeds of our journey to 2047 of the Amrit Kal, during which we are looking at rapid industrialization, rapid growth of modern 21st century infrastructure to meet the needs of tomorrow, where we are looking at inclusive and sustainable growth of the entire nation, north, south, east, west, the remotest parts of the country. That foundation has been set in the last 10 years, which rests on three pillars principally. One, Garib Kalyan, welfare of the poor, because as we take the people out of poverty, and 25 crore people have come out of multidimensional poverty in the last few years. As more and more people don't have to worry about their day-to-day needs, roti, kapda, makan, shiksha, swas, bijli, sadak, pani, We've all heard these over the years. The issues which used to be matters of concern for millions and millions of people. करोड़ों लोग पूरा जीवन निकाल देते थे इन समस्याओं से झूलते झूलते. I was traveling on a Vistara day before yesterday to come to Delhi. And while just scrolling on the screen on different films, I saw Gharonda. I don't know if any of you, maybe our senior people here will remember Gharonda, Amol Palekar movie. And Zarina Wahab. I couldn't remember the lady's name. And for the youngsters today, it may be silly. My wife asked me, why are you watching Gharonda? It was just so nostalgic. How middle class families, how the less privileged sections had to struggle lifetimes and how they were cheated out of their small savings, earned with great difficulty, moonlighting, working 18, 16 hours a day to collect a small amount of money paid to a real estate agent or a real estate builder. No receipt forthcoming because that was the economy at that point of time. कि ये तो unofficial पैसा है, इसकी कोई receipt नहीं मिलेगी. Only to be jilted out of their savings. We saw so much of that happening in Noida. We saw so much of that happening in different parts of the country. I had journalists come up to me and say that we booked a flat in Noida 12 years ago, 15 years ago, we still don't see sight of that flat. All of these issues had somehow kept the nation back. People didn't have the confidence that we can be demand creators with issues like health being taken care of through Ayushman Bharat, almost 55 crore people eligible for it, 80 crore people getting free food grains, 4 crore families, which is almost 20 crore people, now live under a proper pakka house, a home. Every home has already been benefited with a toilet. 11 crore toilets being built. Every home will have a tap connection taking water to their home. One of the biggest problems due to which we had healthcare issues, toilets and water. This holistic thinking is the Modi guarantee to ensure that the day-to-day needs, the regular needs of every person can be taken care of and they can then aspire for a better future. Now with nearly 100 crore people connected on the internet, they are all the time watching what's happening in Sydney, what's happening in Singapore, in Dubai, in London or Paris or Tokyo or Los Angeles. The world is in our phones right there. And that is the aspirational India. The young man or woman now aspiring for the good things of life with his basic necessities taken care of. That's the first pillar, Garib Kalyan. And bringing people out of poverty, making them aspirational for a better future and driving demand and growth. The second pillar, strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Business Standard does, or the people assembled here don't need to know what the situation in 2014 was. If at all some of you need to know more about it, just look up the white paper Nirmala ji took out a few months ago. It lays bare how delicate and fragile the Indian economy was. We were the fragile five. 11th largest, but amongst the weakest. Double-digit inflation, tottering growth. High interest rates, low foreign exchange reserves. In every respect, the morale of the nation was down. Corruption scandals tumbling out of the cupboard every month after month. The Indian passport not gaining us any respect when we went across the world. Exports flat and investments almost at a standstill. This 10-year period have been a period in which we have brought back our credibility in the world. We have not only moved to the 5th largest economy, but in Prime Minister Modi's 3rd term, and I suspect in the next 3 years, we will be the 3rd largest economy of the world. And that's not a matter of chance. It's not as if it's going to happen on its own. It will happen because of very focused efforts. Our foreign exchange reserves, last I read, was $636 billion, more than twice what we had inherited. From 11 months of import, from 6 months of import in 14, we are up to about nearly a year's import today. Not only is the foreign exchange twice, we have even repaid the $30 billion borrowed at very high interest rates as FCNRB deposits in August, September 2013. I'm sure, Bhattacharya, you would remember, the rupee had collapsed in August 2013 to 68 rupees to a dollar. Country was unsure what will happen. The government had to pay nearly 2% more and shore up its foreign exchange reserves by borrowing at about $30 billion. We had unpaid food subsidy bills. We had oil bonds, more than 1 lakh of crores. All of these have been repaid by the Modi government in the last 10 years. And through all of these efforts, today I have 0 food subsidy bills pending. On the contrary, the food ministry makes calls to the states, please submit your final bills, your cost sheets. And we have cleared years and years of pendency. In some cases, 12 or 13-year-old bills are all getting cleared through higher allocations from the budget and clearing all the states' dues which are left unpaid for over a decade now. The idea being that our economy today has almost become the envy of the world. Amongst the developing economies, our foreign currency is the most stable. In fact, in a last conversation I had with the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, we were discussing various issues. And he said, when we came to foreign currency, he said, rupee-dollar parity, we are very comfortable. We are not concerned about the depreciation of the rupee anymore. If at all, the one issue he raised was the higher imports of gold. And he said, we need to address that issue. Can we work or can I help you? And I've actually, the Honorable Prime Minister also has discussed with colleagues and has suggested that we must look at how we can recycle our gold reserves. And we have amongst the world's highest gold in the country. How can we leverage that also to help growth of the nation, faster growth of the nation? So we are all the time looking for newer ideas which help us in the growth trajectory. That's the second pillar, strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Growth is at significant highs compared to the rest of the world. We're getting into depression. Our interest rates, save and except the last year and a half, have been amongst the lowest we've seen in India. I do believe that cycle also will come back now with the strong reining in of inflation. Inflation over the decade of Modi government has been the lowest, and I wish BS could do some study of the past. Our decadal inflation is the lowest in India's history, independent history, which also is a strong factor to keep the currency stable and help our growth grow and interest rates come down. And the third pillar, friends, is infrastructure. The deep focus on infrastructure has helped getting the benefit or leveraging the multiplier impact that infrastructure investments gets us. I think that's something I don't need to tell this august audience, that every rupee spent on infrastructure has, I'm told, nearly 3x or 3.4x an impact on the economy. It kickstarts so many other industries. It creates jobs in significant measure. It creates work opportunities for contractors, for our Vishwakarmas, masons, carpenters, electricians, all people get more jobs. It gives you demand for steel, cement, furniture, carpets, televisions, electronic goods, internet systems, you name it. Upholstery, I can just keep going on and on, cameras. It just completely transforms the demand scenario. Then you see imports go up because you don't have enough domestic capacity. When imports go up, investors see an opportunity. They know, oh, there is demand for these goods and services in the country. Let's invest in this country. And the virtuous cycle of growth, mark my words, against the vicious cycle that corruption and lethargy brought to the nation from 4 to 14. From 14 to 24, the Modi government has been able to leverage the virtuous cycle of growth through massive focus on areas like infrastructure, areas like industrial growth in electronics, in semiconductors, in areas like PLI schemes to encourage or kickstart domestic manufacturing to meet the growing needs of India. And therefore, today, these three pillars, Garib Kalyan, strong macroeconomic fundamentals, which is on the back of our effort to make India a corruption-free India, Sushashan, good governance has been our calling card, and focus on infrastructure. And by infrastructure, I mean very high-quality infrastructure. I don't know how many of you have traveled on the coastal road which has been opened up, or in Mumbai, or at the Atal Setu, in the Trans-Harbour Link, about which we've been hearing for 30 years. But as Prime Minister Modi says, there are so many tasks that were left either in the drawing board or unfinished, which he has had the privilege of completing. This itself, I hope you have enjoyed the facilities of Bharat Mandapam. I'll ask them to open the Leaders Summit Room and the Leaders Lounge, where the G20 was held. It's right across the road, across this room. And since it's a very nice group of youngsters and all, I'll even allow them access into that room. You can sit in the place where the Honorable Prime Minister sat, or where the US President sat, and click your photos. Anybody from ITPO here? Bulao kisi ko. I'll make sure they open up those rooms in your lunch break or something. Just don't mess it up and keep it carefully. We normally just allow the door to be opened and keep a barricade there. But we'll make an exception for all of you who have come here. And this is the new India. We've had Bharat Techs, we've had Bharat Mobility, we've had a startup Mahakumbh, all three. The first of its kind in India. Never before has the mobility sector all come together on one page. Entire textile value chain, end to end, from farmer to fashion to foreign, the farm to fiber to fabric to factory to fashion to foreign, the 5F vision with sustainable textiles. But we couldn't do it because we never had a venue like this. And believe it or not, Bharat Techs had to take this venue and Yashobhumi. And by the way, both were opened within a span of 30 days. This was launched on 26 July 2023 and Yashobhumi came up in August. Two venues. If you haven't seen Yashobhumi, do visit Yashobhumi. It'll make you proud as an Indian. These are the facilities which will now, these facilities will bring MICE to India. We won't have to go to Hanover or Frankfurt to attend big exhibitions and conferences. The world will come to India. And I've already authorized phase 2 expansion of both Yashobhumi and Bharat Mandapam in less than 7 months. That's been the level of success. And by the way, in Bharat Techs, Initially, they were very hesitant. Finally, they ran out of space with 2 venues, and the tents came up again. We wanted to remove the tents, इससे इतनी बढ़िया facility बनाई. But we ran out of space, and again we had to put up 4 hangars. That's India for you. That's the new India. And I believe the India of today is an India that the world trusts. आज भारत की विश्वसनीयता, भारत के नेतृत्व की विश्वसनीयता, भारत के लोगों के ऊपर जो विश्वसनीयता है, the trust the world has in 140 crore Indians is unparalleled in India's independent history. And I believe the Viksit Bharat roadmap rests today on 7 principles, if you can call it the Saptarishi principles. 1, inclusive development. We have already taken out 25 crores from multidimensional poverty. We need to see them sustain and now grow into middle class and then upper middle class. That growth story has to be inclusive, and that is the effort of the country and the government. 2, we need to reach the last mile, what Prime Minister calls saturation of government policies, programs and schemes. Everybody should benefit without any discrimination. That has been our hallmark. Never has anybody been asked his caste, his creed, his religion, his language, his state. Never. It's been inclusive, बिना भेदभाव, हर एक का अधिकार है. And it hurts us when certain people try to say that there should be a caste census. You don't want to divide India. Does anybody in this room want to divide India? You want to get unity into the country. You want to unite the people. You can't say jitna jansankhya utne aadhar. You can't say like a honorable member of parliament, who also incidentally happens to be the brother of the deputy chief minister of a state, makes a comment that if one state in the south doesn't get as much money as they contribute to the treasury, they will have to consider separating from India. Southern states may have to consider separating from India. Can anybody over here even imagine that in your dreams? I was aghast when I heard that. A north-south divide being created. Tomorrow, if Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh were to say, well, the coal that we have is ours to use, the rest of the country will be in darkness. If Punjab, Haryana and UP were to say, the grain is ours, we will use it the way we like, the rest of the country will run out of food grains. If Maharashtra was to say, the ports, Maharashtra, Gujarat were to say, or Andhra and the coastal says, the ports are ours, UP and Kashmir would not be able to be a part of the international foray that India has delved into. India is one, Bharat ek desh hai. Or we have to reach the last mile across the country as one nation. Third, infrastructure and growing investments, both in industry and infrastructure, will be the third pillar. Fourth, entrepreneurship, innovation, and the startup ecosystem. I think our young men and women really make us proud with the fantastic work that you are doing. Fifth, green growth and new age technologies. Sustainability is at the centerpiece of India's growth story, and we'll have to connect with new age technologies so that we don't remain left behind. Sixth, the power of Gyan. Of course, Gyan is knowledge, and there's huge knowledge and power. But as the Honorable Prime Minister has suggested, the Garib, Yuva, Annadata or Nari, the poor, youth, our farmers and our women power. If we can respect these, this country has a brilliant and bright future. And we are committed, whether it's through the PMGKY, the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, whether it's the Women's Reservation Bill, whether it's our effort to increase skill development of youth and women, whether it's the various initiatives to empower the farmers, increase their incomes, whether it's the PM Mudra Yojana to help entrepreneurs get into small businesses, whether it's Startup India, Stand Up India. There's a plethora of opportunities for our Gyan. And finally, the financial sector, financial inclusion, digital economy, fintech, the Jan Dhan accounts, the direct transfer of money to beneficiaries. These 7 pillars will take distraught India of 2014 to developed India of 2024 and beyond. Today, the world is looking up to India. It is for us to grab that opportunity. And I have no doubt in my mind that today's Bharat aspires, today's Bharat inspires, and today's Bharat achieves big dreams, big goals, big future for India. And that is what I think this Manthan is all about. My best wishes to each and every one of you in this journey of India, a Viksit Bharat at 2047. May God bless you in this journey. Some of us may not be there to celebrate 2047 as a developed and prosperous nation. But I'm sure our young boys and girls, our men and women in this room, in this journey of Viksit Bharat, will play an important role and will take this country to greater heights. God bless all of you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your encouragement and such an incisive, thought-provoking lecture. It's also